Good morning, it's Saturday. I don't usually work on a Saturday, but as I mentioned on my last video, I'm a day behind because of various sort of family situations during the week. But today, we're going to do a cute little Easter basket. There were 3 eggs in there. I've eaten one. So here we go. It is so simple. I think it's quite pretty. As you can see, I have used pink, white and a lemon. They are all double knit yarns. I've got my favourite sparkly yarn there. I have a 3.5mm crochet hook, so it's not on a too small a hook, and my various needles, and my scissors are somewhere. That's a good question. Where are my scissors? Bear with me a second. There they are, my scissors. It's because I took some work downstairs last night and I took the scissors with me, so that is where they have been. So we're going to get on with this little basket. It's very simple, amigurumi-esque style, and then we have some little popcorns around it, and they're not hard to do. If you've done, I think it was one of the bags that I did for the Smart Doll, there was a popcorn in there, and so, you know, I can explain it easy enough if you've not done one, so don't worry, even a beginner could do popcorns. It's only trebles and the way you put them together. So I'm going to start with the pink, same as I did with this one, although I suppose I could reverse it. Shall I reverse it? No, I think I've got more pink than I have yellow, so we will go with the pink. Onto the hook with my slip knot and my 2 chain, like I start with on my amigurumi. So 2 chain. Into that first chain, 6 double crochets. If it'll go in, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and again it follows the same as a lot of my patterns. I'm now going to do 2 double crochet into each of those 6, so we will have 12 stitches. So we've got 1, make sure it's 2 in each, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we now have 12 stitches. So the base is coming along there. We're going to have one more where it's 2 in each. So we've got 12 now, so we'll end up with our 24, won't we? Don't really need a stitch marker at this point, says me as I talk and I lose count. But here's our second. There's number 2. There's number 2. I will behave. 2 in each, remember. That is 3, 4, 5, halfway there with 6, 7, 8, just pull the yarn out a bit, 8, 9, 10, 11, and just one more makes our 12, which gives us 24 stitches. So again, the base isn't big, so you know, you've not got that much further to go. There's going to be one more increase round, should I say, and then we're sort of going to move on. But because I'm talking, I'm going to pop my stitch marker in now. There is actually only 8 stitches that we're increasing on this next one, so you could do it without your stitch marker, but as I say, if I get distracted, then the size of the basket's going to change, and then that alters the popcorn, etc, etc, so it does matter. So we're going to do 2 in our first one, and then 1 in the next 2. So 1, 2, 2 in our next one, 1 in each of the next 2. You'll see it's very similar to, like I say, most of the amigurumi I do. So 2 and 1 in each of the next 2. 1 and 2. So you can see the pattern that's forming. We have 2 in 1 stitch, 1 in 2 stitches. So I'm just going to speed up a little bit. If you do need to slow me down, don't forget you can do it in the settings, or sort of just listen to me a second. Sometimes I find that easier. I sort of listen to what the person's doing and then pop it on pause and get on with that little bit, then come back. That's another way of doing it. There's lots of different systems you can do it on the settings. Just so my voice sounds a little bit silly, that's all, if you slow me down too much. Nearly there. I'd say this is the last one. I'm using my stitch marker there rather than just counting, but the stitch marker should be true, so we should be okay there. So now we should have 32 stitches. My next round, I'm going into the back loop. Now I have discussed this before, but I will go through it again. Now you can see, in fact, let me take this out and we'll see if we can see it. So you have one part, two part, and we usually go under both of them, don't they? So if I separate them there, yeah. We're only going to go in the back part, which is this part here, not the front part. It creates a bit of a ridge. It can be used for pattern forming. For us, I'm wanting to use it to sort of turn the base. Can you see how it creates a ridge? But it also starts to turn it as well, so it's quite handy to give you a slightly solider base. So can you see? In the back loop, not in the front. And it's just one double crochet into each of those back loop stitches. So make sure you sort of, I usually say to myself back loop, because sometimes you'll slip into doing both. But you'll see the ridge starts to form, so then you know you're going in the right direction. It's not the end of the world if you didn't do it as a back loop. You just have a slightly rounder bottom. Now, if you're planning on hanging this on maybe a Easter tree, if you have Easter trees, or hanging it in a window, or just as a hanging decoration anywhere, to be honest, it doesn't have to be an Easter basket. It's just a general little basket. In fact, I had wondered sort of what size for my smart dolls, because I was thinking of making them an Easter basket, and it might actually work quite well. So I might have to do some Easter pictures with these two, with the dolls. So just back loop all the way around. And again, I'm not counting, I'm just using my stitch marker as my guide because it's more than adequate at this point. Are we nearly there? I think we are. My finger's in the way. A couple more stitches and I'm round. Doing this gave me an idea though for an Easter hat for a smart doll, so I'm a bit excited about doing that. I'm not going to do it looking like that, but it's just given me some ideas and some inspiration there. We're going to do another round where it's just back loop. So just all the way around, just nice and simple, back loop, all the way. After this round, we are going to be starting to work on our popcorn stitches. They are easy enough to do, so don't worry about them if you've not done them before. Great to give texture and also stability to the basket because it makes it that little bit chunkier, a bit thicker, so you get texture and sort of sturdiness at the same time. So it's a great stitch. It might take a little bit longer sometimes, but there are only 3 rounds of it. So we're nearly round with this one. Let me just check I'm still in view. I'm trying to keep a little bit further away from the lens because I know some people have said they'd like to sort of see it more close up. Perhaps if I don't know, had a different quality camera or something, that might work. But I'm finding if I do get too close, it does affect the visuals. And I'm desperately trying to get things a little bit clearer. I don't know if it's just my monitor, but my monitor shows things, well, not blurry, but I feel slightly lacking clarity. I've been eyeing up some cameras. I still don't know what to buy though. It's bizarre because the phone is great for some things, but for the crochet you do have to be careful. Right, so I have now done my rounds. I'm going to take my stitch marker out because as soon as you start doing the popcorn, you can't miss where you are. It's almost impossible. Now I've done my first round in pink just to get it going, so we will do that again. But before I start it, I'm going to do a slip stitch join, but in the whole stitch, both parts. That positions me. I'm going to do 3 chain because the starting popcorn is always different to all the rest, because like with any treble stitches you need to start with 3 chain. I'm now going to do 3 trebles into the base of that in the same stitch as it came out of. Now this is the trick for our popcorn. I've pulled that a little bit long. I've took my hook out. Now the first one's weird because this is a 3 chain. After this it won't be, it'll be a treble. I'm going in the top of that 3 chain, so that's why it's a bit weird, this one. I am grabbing that loop, I'm tightening it and I'm pulling it through. That's a popcorn. I'm going to do a chain. Those chains are important. You need those chains because I'll be referring to a chain space after. And apart from that, it holds it together a little bit neater. I'm going to miss 1 stitch, and into our next one, I'm going to do 4 trebles. So just 4 bog standard trebles into the same space. So that was 3, and there's number 4. I've took it out. Make sure it's a little bit longer so you don't lose it. Taking my hook and pushing it into the top of that first treble. I am going to grab the yarn, tightening it up and pulling it through and making a chain. So we'll do that again. Miss one, into the next one. We have 4 trebles. So don't worry about the actual stitch, just do your 4 trebles first. Take your hook out. We have the 4 into the top of the first of the 4. Tighten it up slightly and pull it through, and a chain. Miss one, next one. I'm going to do one more, try and make sure I'm really in the centre and that you can see it properly. I think that looks okay there. So we're going to do 4 trebles. This is a 4 treble popcorn. There are different size popcorns, so you will see them different. This is not necessarily the only way. There's lots of different methods and various techniques. There's usually a little key on a pattern to read if you need to check that. So I've took it out, in there, grab that loop and pull it through and make a chain. I'm going to go a little bit faster now because basically you're going to do that all the way around. So if you want to sort of stop and pause, maybe check the stitch if you've not done it before, or if you know the stitch, just off you go, and I will stop when I get to my slip stitch at the end. So I'm going to miss one, into the other one. I'm going to have 4, so I'm speeding up a little bit now because they are quite time consuming stitches. See, that's the problem when you speed up, you drop it sometimes. Missing one, into the next one, and off we go. I do love it as a stitch though. I think it's sort of, I think it's just a very pretty stitch, very versatile, and as I say, it gives great texture to whatever you're doing. I'm dropping them again, Anna. If you do that, just take it out and do it again. Don't try messing about trying to pick the stitch up, because to be honest, it will split the yarn depending on what it is. I mean, this is a Stylecraft yarn that I'm using. This one and the next one. It's a very good quality basic yarn. I don't know what country Stylecrafts are in. Obviously, I'm in the UK, and it's widely available here. Can you see how it's starting to sort of turn itself? The little basket is forming. The first round is harder because we're going into stitches. When you do your second and your third round on it, you're going into those chain spaces, so it's much more. I'm doing it again, it's every time on the 4th one, isn't it? I think I need to stop talking, see if that makes a difference. Probably not, probably still do the same. So don't forget that chain in between. So I'm about halfway round now. That's why I say, if you know what you're doing, you'll probably want to sort of just fast forward me at this point and just do your little round. If you know completely what you're doing, I have 3 rounds of popcorn. But again, if it's something you're not that familiar with, it would be worth stopping as I change the colour. A little bit of sewing in because of colour change, but I think it's worth it just for the prettiness. This one, into the next one. This one, into the next one. I'm almost round. Yep, that's looking quite nice, I think. Oh, I don't know what we've got, but maybe another 4 or maybe 5. Don't forget to miss one. If you don't miss them, they will get really too tight together and you'll be expanding your, see, it's caught again. Undo it. Don't mess about with it, just undo. As I was saying, if you don't miss one, the stitches are going to be so tight together and they're going to get wider because each time sort of you've increased basically. So you do need that space. The space is the equivalent to that one chain. I can just feel my stomach's about to rumble. I haven't had any breakfast yet because the medication I take, it's nothing major, but the medication I take, I can't eat for half an hour. And I'm always really hungry in the morning. So I thought I'll get the video done and then I can go and enjoy my breakfast. At it again. Sometimes I think if you try going too fast, you do that, you sort of miss your stitch. And one more, got perfect fit. So miss one into this one, and our last little popcorn. So that's 2, 3 and 4 trebles. Take it out, pop it in the first and pull it through, and a chain. Don't forget that last chain. Now I'm going to actually join in the middle here where I joined the actual popcorn together. So you can see I've got quite a thick bit. Don't try and pick a thin piece up. And I'm just going to do a slip stitch because I'm going to just fasten this off. I don't need pink till right at the top, so I just want to get rid of it. Tie it off, and it gets in the way a bit. It's up to you. If you want to sew it in at that point and make it nice and neat, you can do, or you can just go with it as I'm going to be doing today. I'm changing to my white next. I've done the sparkly white in between because I think it looks nice against the colours. Now I'm not going to go straight for that one where it was. It doesn't matter, but we're going to be picking up in one of these chain spaces. So I'm just going to go for that one because I don't like doing it where the knot one is, so it gets in my way. So I'm going to pull the yarn through and make a chain, but then I'm going to go back in and do a double crochet. It anchors it. Then that was 1 double crochet, so, and then 2 chains, because that double crochet sort of counts as a chain. I'm going to do popcorn again, so we have 3 only this time because it's the starter one. The starter popcorn only has 3 chain and 3 trebles. So into the top of that 3 chain, grab the white and pull it through and chain. So there you go. That looks quite pretty next to it. Into the next chain space. That's why I say it's easier now, because we're going in chain spaces. You're going to be doing your 4 trebles. 2, 3 and 4. Take it out, pop it back in. The first one feels a bit sort of squashed together now because it's getting a bit chunky. And 1 chain, so you can see how the stitches are going. Into every chain space you're going to do a popcorn, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. So I'm into my chain space. If you're not sure, just separate them up and you can see where your chain space is going to be. And don't go too fast like me, because your stitches drop off. That's 2, 3 and 4. Absolutely love this wool. I'll spot myself another ball because I'm going to be doing, I've got a commission piece to do for somebody, and I asked them did they want it in white or sparkle white, and they went sparkle, and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. I don't know why, it's a very nice soft wool. It is a King Cole. This is Baby Glitz that I'm using. I'm very lucky to have a friend who's got a craft shop, so I popped down and I picked it up the other day for the commission piece I've got to do. I just think it gives it a lift. I mean, if you don't like sparkle, you don't like sparkle. But I'm a sucker for anything shiny. That's 3. That's 4. So remember, it is a 4 treble popcorn. And we join the 2 together. 2 together, the 4 together. So I'm going to keep going. If you want to stop me or pause me or just carry on with what you're doing or double check the stitches, please do. See how it's coming around nicely now. Now, one thing I do is I sort of give it a little stretch, because otherwise it sort of closes in on itself. So every now and again it needs to sort of stretch to sort of, oh, I don't know, balance it out a little bit. I couldn't think of the right word, and that wasn't the right word either. I'm trying to move my foot and I'm noticing I'm knocking the camera. Right, off we go. Obviously, you don't have to do them in these colours. You can do them whatever colours you like. They just make a little basket. Depends what you're going to be using them for. Whether it be decoration, whether it be dolls, whether it be, I don't know, just a little trinket box. Just pop jewellery and bits and bobs in. There's definitely going to be some dolly pictures for me with it, I think. I think I might have to have a little Easter egg hunt. So it's a good excuse to buy Easter eggs. These here, as you can see, there are 2 Easter eggs in there. It was a packet, but while I was doing the prototype piece, this one, yesterday, I thought, oh, we don't need all them. I'll have a couple of nibbles. And by the time I'd done, after I took the photos, I did take some photos with 3 in, and then I decided to put another one. They're too nice. I wish they wouldn't bring Easter eggs out this early. It's really not good when you're trying to behave. I've got a wedding at the end of September, my daughter, and I'm determined. I keep saying that. I'm going to get myself in shape. It's not happening. So much easier going into the space. And it's quicker for you as well. I find it quite an addictive stitch. I think it's one of those that, you know, you could just quite happily go on and on and on and on. Sort of end up with a massive tube before you know it. But we are only doing 3 rounds. Say hi to those that are staying with me rather than fast forwarding. Hope it's going well. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. In we go. Pull it through. What we got? We got 1, 2. We got 3 more. That's all. So it doesn't actually take long for a round. I'm trying to see. I'm on 20 minutes on the filming. That's not too bad. I mean, you must have. Well, I need to take sort of 5 minutes off that. Doing it again. 5 minutes off that for me talking at the beginning. I think comfortably an hour would be sort of quite average. That's if you're sort of sitting down for a full hour, that is. I know sometimes when I'm working, I'll sit down for maybe half an hour, do some things, then go off and do something else, then come back. I know when people say to me, oh, how long did it take you to make? I'm like, I don't know. I don't really write down how long it takes. Especially for some of the bigger pieces, because sometimes they can take hours and hours, literally. So I'll sort of do an hour, leave it, come back to it. But I don't really register how long it's took. Right, that is my last one. Do the chain. Don't forget that chain. Remember, I'm slipping into the top of this one, pulling it through, pulling it through. Oh, nearly dropped my scissors. And pull the yarn to fasten it off. So as I give it a little stretch, you can see how the basket is forming quite nicely there. We're on to yellow. I'm not a big yellow fan, but I do think in certain situations it really is a fantastic highlight colour and it really makes things pop. So I'm not going in the one I've finished with, I'm going in the next one. There is no rules for that, you do what you want. I'm pulling my yarn through, I'm doing a chain. I'm going back in, I'm doing a double crochet, it anchors it nice and tight. I'm only going to do 2 chain because that double crochet counted as 1. I am now going to go back in and I'm going to do my popcorns. So I only need 3 for the first one, remember, because the chain is counting as our first treble. Into the top of the chain, grab the yarn and pull it through and, oh, where's my yarn going? And a chain afterwards. So I'm going to go off again just at the speed I was going. Noticed it feels a bit thicker, this yellow. No reason why. It is a Stylecraft yarn. I've just noticed that some yarns or some colours of yarn feel thicker. I have noticed it with reds in the past. I have never noticed it with a yellow. Now, fair enough, the yarn in the middle is a King Cole, so perhaps it just because it feels like I've used a King Cole and then gone back onto Stylecraft. But no, I do feel it feels as if it sort of blends. It just feels thicker. I don't know why. I suspect it's something to do with the dyes or something like that. That's 3, 4. I mean, please come and say hi as well with comments. I know my friend the other day who has the channel So Unique had said one of her friends has subscribed to my channel because she likes the crochet, and it doesn't always show to me who's subscribed. It just gives a number. It doesn't always give names because obviously if you guys have got privacy settings on and things like that. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. Please say hi in the comments and then I will know where you are and who you are. But I know you are a lady that follows my friend Julie's. And I know you've been looking at crochet, so there's a chance you might be looking at this one. Oh, thought my wool was going to knock floor then. It's come undone. I hate it when, you know, when you get to the end, it's all yeah, I've got to try and, I've only got to get round. This is the only bit of yellow on this, so hopefully it's going to get round and I'm not going to get tangled. It's that do you roll it into a proper ball or not question. I generally don't have time to sit rolling balls of wool, so I do go just straight in with the ball, but then when you get to this end there is a problem. It gets very messy. Not that a ball of wool can't get messy, but it seems to make it worse this way. Not got many more to do. Look how pretty that is coming. Can you see what I mean? I'm thinking hat. I'm not thinking these colours though. I'm thinking little lamb. I think a little lamb hat would be really cute. I'm going to try and keep today's next week. No promise though. It's a few doctors and hospital appointments between me and the kids. So I'm going to be in and out quite a lot. I think there's only really Tuesday and Thursday that there's no appointments next week. Because I don't have the car during the week, because my husband needs the car, I'm on a bus. So it's a lot of messing about. It takes a big chunk out of your day. So I've got to try and plan everything maybe for Tuesday and Thursday. So we will see. We will see. I'm hoping I end up with a bit of time, but I might be just a little bit delayed because I was trying to keep my days to the Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday because that was working quite nicely. Because I said I wanted it to be Wednesday crochet and then any other crochet was an extra. And I've done it a bit back to front this time because I did a doll crochet on the Wednesday. Oh, we've already got one more. Well, after I finish this one, that is. This one. Shouldn't get too close, and I want to blur it. 2, 3 and 4. Thing is, when I sort of get into it, I sort of bring my work closer and closer to me. And I've got to remember the camera's there. I can't do that. So remember, I've done a chain, and I'm going to go into that, and I'm going to do a slip stitch, scissors, cut it off, and fasten. Ta-da! So that is the base of our basket. As you can see, we have some plain rows coming up. I've gone back onto the white, so I'm going to move that yellow that's coming undone out of the way, although this first ball of white is getting a little bit like that. And we're going to, oh, I've knocked it, keep still, right, it's done it. Right, I'm going to be going into chain spaces now. Now, I'm not going to mess about going in the top, so I'm just going to say, I know how many stitches I want, so I'm just going to go 2 double crochets in every single chain space, and that will balance your numbers out, so you don't need to worry about going in the top stitches. So I'll pull my yarn through, I've done a chain, I'm going back in for my DC, and I'm going to do a second DC, and I'm going to do one double, just said 2, now saying 1, I'm going to fasten this one in as I go. I'm going to do 2 double crochets in every single chain space, and that will give us the exact number we require for the top of this basket. Again, perhaps you could have carried on with the yellow, and then you wouldn't have had to sort of rejoin yarn. I just quite like this stripy effect. It reminds me of a Battenberg cake. I made a crochet Battenberg once. That was quite cute. Did I do 1 or 2 there? I did do 2. Next one. It's weird though, I'm not actually fond of making crochet squares unless they're granny squares. So the Battenberg was lots of little squares, and then you had to stitch them all together, and then you had to go around the edge. So it wasn't my favourite make, so I don't really think I'll make another one. I think we all have likes and styles of crochet or crafting that we like. We'll develop our own little techniques. Almost round. You can see I ain't got many more. I'll move that out the way now, because that can just be, in fact that I've actually stitched in as I've gone, so I'm just going to cut that off. Don't do it unless you have, but I have actually crocheted it in as I've gone along. You start to do that. If you're not doing it now, you'll just start to do it out of habit after a bit. You don't even know you're doing it. So I'm almost round with my 2 in each. There we are. Now I am going to go into this one here, the starting one, and I'm just going to do a double crochet because I'm going to do another round, so it won't hurt to go a bit amigurumi-esque there. So one more round, so we're going a nice spiral round there. Now handle is optional. You don't have to do a handle like I've done. If you're just making it like a little basket to hang, you could perhaps do just a little chain, or you could do a little ribbon. The one I've done there, I've actually made it slightly narrower for this pattern end, because I think that it's okay, that I'm quite pleased with it, but I do think it's quite a little bit broad. I wanted it a little bit lighter. So let's get round with this one. That's because I caught the filament in it. Right, let's get on with this round. If you wanted to pop your stitch marker back in here, it might be an idea. I'm just sort of feeling for it at the moment where I'm going. You can usually tell, but not always, depends on your yarn. Yep, so I started here. So a couple more. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Let's double check. Is that no? Now you can see I'm saying I thought I started there, but I didn't. But you can see it suddenly comes up there. That's because that's where I started, so I need to get around to that. I'm going to change to pink next. The pink is our final DC round before you do the handle. The handle is a little tedious. I'm going to warn you now to watch me. So let's just fasten that off and let's get this pink in. Because for my handle, I've actually got 25 rows. Yes, that's quite a lot. That is why I decided sort of thin it down a little bit, because it takes a little bit less. So I'm just going to join my yarn in by just pulling it through and tightening. That needs tying at some point, so don't forget. In fact, I'll do a couple of stitches and then I'll tie it. So I've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I'm going to tie this now, just in case I forget. It's very important to make sure your ends are nice and tight. You don't want to make something and then somebody looks at it and it starts unraveling. So I'm just going to do a little knot. Got all these ends, you see, that's the only problem with changing colour. Ends, you could do it in a variegated yarn if you've got a nice pretty one, and you won't have that problem. But no, I think this works. I like the striping. So round we go with our final DC round. Now you could actually leave the basket at this point. It could be a little trinket basket. It doesn't have to have a handle. Just a little basket to sit on the side, or a little basket to sit an egg in. It's quite a nice size. So if you pop a little bit of I mean, I just got some bubble wrap in the bottom of that, but if you pop some tissue in or something like that, you could sit a little cream egg in. That would be quite nice. You don't need the handle. Yeah, we're going for time. 32 minutes, not bad. As I said, the handle is a little tedious, I am afraid. It's very difficult to sort of work the timing out with crochet, whether to fast forward or not to fast forward. Some people like to stay with you all the time, and some people just want it to sort of move on quicker. So I'm back round. So here, that's where my pink has joined. I'm going to do 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to do a chain. I'm going to turn. Now I'm going in directly below the chain as 1, then 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to do a chain. I'm going to turn directly below 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now before I forget where I am, that is my third, so I'll mark it down. 1, 2 and 3. Now you can see where it's forming. We're working up this side now to create the handle. So there is 25 rows. That is a lot. So while I'm talking, I'll carry on. If you want to just fast forward here, as I say, it is 25 rows. There are only 5 stitches, so they don't actually take that long. It's just a little on the tedious, that's all. I mean, we're already on the 4, so don't forget to do a chain, turn, it is the stitch directly below, not there, directly below, because otherwise you'll start to lose stitches rather than keeping your sides nice and straight. I mean, they don't take long to do. Well, so we've got 5 now, so we've got 20 more to do. I think that would be the minimum. You could make it a little bit longer if you wanted to, depending on what sort of basket you want. I've not actually done one like this before, but I wanted it to sort of be seamless. I wanted you to have as less stitching in as possible. Don't forget to mark them down. It's any problem because you get a bit carried away just doing it. Because apart from stitching in the colours, the only bit to sort of stitch together will be the join at the end of this, and again that's quite seamless, and the actual handle pulling together. So I'm on 7 already. That's not bad going. But as I say, if you want to fast forward this bit, it's just 25. And done. Make sure it goes below. It's always that dilemma when you do rows. You go, is it the stitch directly below the chain or is it the next one along? It depends on the pattern. You do have to be careful. If you need a very, very straight edge, it is directly below. So you do the chain and it goes directly below. Just looking at something I could tell you. I don't know whether any of you are local to where I am. I am South Yorkshire based, because I am going to be doing a crochet workshop soon. It's a place called Haggler's Corner. It's a little crochet workshop day. Well, it's crochet day. There's all sorts of little bits and bobs going on. When I've done this, I'll get my poster and I will show it. I don't know whether it's of any use to any of you. It is in Sheffield. I'm going to be doing a little talk. Hopefully people will want to listen. And I'm also going to be doing a little crochet workshop. And we're just going to be doing a miniature bag, really, which if you've got dolls can be used for dolls. If you haven't, it can be great for a key ring or just a little gift for somebody. A bit of fun, that's all. I'm just looking, my daughter's just sent me a message. We're on 13, we're getting there. It's like making a mini scarf. That's 14. I know I'd definitely fast forward myself if I was watching these now. So please do if you need to. That's 15. Got 10 more rows to do. So that's 1. I caught a little bit. 2, 3, 4 and 5. You see, that's where it caught, and now because it caught last time, it's hard to get back in. So you do have to be clear with your stitches, because otherwise it will cause you a problem on your following rows. It's a little bit dodgy now there, but I'm not going to undo it for this reason of speed more than anything. I would have undone that if it had been something I was making for somebody else. That's 2 that I've not marked down, isn't it? So 1, 2, just 2 more and we're on 20 now. You see, it's not quite long enough, so we do need that 25. So that is number 19. I'm not going to write it down now, I'm just going to count. And that is 20. So it takes a bit of time, just sort of stopping and starting writing it down. Yeah, this is number 20, isn't it? Doesn't matter if I've missed one out. And 21. 22. Again, watch it, it nearly didn't do it. 23. The sides are going to be sewn together, so it's not the end of the world anyway. Did I say 23? I think I did. See, you should write it down really. 24. Only one more to go. Turn. Last one. 2, 3, 4 and 5. We've done. That's the handle. So fastening off, pulling through. Should have left that longer. I think there is enough, because if you leave a nice long one, you don't have to rejoin. Now, what I'm wanting to do, I should sew all those ends in, but obviously I'm not going to for the purpose of speed. So I'm going to thread this up. Let's move that little bit of yarn there. And I want to get approximately, so if I flatten it out like that, I can work out where my halfway mark is. And all I'm going to be doing is picking up, I've already got the stitch, so I'm not worried about that dropping there. Picking up, trying to keep it as neat as possible, but picking both stitches up to make it nice and firm, because remember it's a basket handle, so it might need to take a bit of weight depending on what you're popping in it. So that's nice and neat. Maybe one more stitch there. So we have our basket. You could leave it like that if you wanted to. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because you could have done a narrower handle. I just wanted to make it look slightly solider. It was a bit, as I say, a bit of an experiment, not something I've done before. But I have left this bit open here because I don't want that bit pulling together. So if I squash this down now and squash the handle together, and you see, I'm just going to run it up the side a little bit, because I don't want to start right at the bottom. I will start a little bit in, maybe well, not even a centimetre in, a few millimetres in. And all I'm doing now is stitching the two sides of the handle together. This will also make it stiffer and make it more like a little solid handle. I've just got to hope I've left enough of the actual yarn. Make sure you leave a nice long piece for that. You see how it's coming together? Ooh, I'm going to be close whether I've got enough. So you start to get the palpitations. Have I got enough yarn? Again, if I haven't, I basically just cut another piece off and start it off again. It's just that it means a little bit more for sewing in. The more pieces you have to do, the more sewing in. It's always good not to have so much sewing in to do. I think I might do it. I think I might. Because I'm not going all the way to the bottom, remember. So I need that bottom bit to stay a little bit flat, because it's against the basket. Because if I bring it in, it's going to squash the basket in as well. So I think I've done it. That was really fluky. Really lucky there. Right, now I've got to, the only problem is that it's so short now, I've got to try and do a little knot. There we go, I did it. And then I'm just going to thread it back through the handle and get rid of that excess yarn. Perhaps those stitches could have done with being a little bit smaller, but I was rushing to try and get it out of that piece of thread. So then I just sort of squashed it like that, and that creates our little basket handle. I just think it makes a slightly solider handle, so I think that looks quite cute. I'm pleased with that. So I've got two now. I think the smaller one does work better. I know it's only one stitch difference, but it does make a difference. So I just got these little dairy milk eggs and I pop them in. I've just got a bit of bubble wrap in there, ideally a bit of tissue paper or a little bit of shredded paper. That would look nice. Now I'm just going to grab that poster that I was referring to. Bear with me. It's all folded up because it's been on my wall. Right, let's just move these out of the way a second. Put my mic back on. Right, basically, this is where I'm going. It's Running with Scissors that are organising it at Haggler's Corner. It's a Shepherd Crochet Festival. And it's Sunday the 15th of March, 10 till 5. So there's all sorts of things, workshops, demonstrations. Now, the price you can see there is the early bird tickets. It's not early bird now. It is £10 for the ticket for the day. But they do have a lovely little cafe in there, so you can get your snacks or you can take your own food. That's not a problem. And there's just various bits and pieces, lots of like-minded people. So if you're fancying doing that, there's some details at the bottom. Can you see it? So you can contact them. I'm just looking if there's any other contact details. I'm not quite sure. I'm presuming, because obviously I haven't had to buy a ticket because I'm going as a guest. I'm presuming this is what you need to look at. I did go last year actually as a visitor and I absolutely loved it. But if there's anybody in the local area fancy doing it, pop on and have a look and you get some information. Running with Scissors also do lots of other workshops as well, so they're quite cool to see. So thank you for watching today. I hope you're going to be making some little Easter baskets, because Easter, like everything else, seems to be moving so fast this year. Just can't keep up with anything. So if you're making them as little gifts, you're going to need to make a few in advance anyway. But actually, looking at that, make a great cream egg one. I know I've put mini ones in, but cream eggs I think would look great in there. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. Hope to see you very soon, and pop on the notification bell if you want to see any future work. Thank you for watching. Bye.